pull this off.
Turn it, Lauren. Now we know where Lauren is.
Thought we could use a little musical interlude in honor of Eddie Van Halen today while we're waiting on Brandon.
That was Tate live on the guitar, right?
Playing Guitar Hero.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough thing. Eddie Van Halen's a tough one for me, man. He was my that was my first album, my first favorite album I ever had.
Favorite song, Kent? That
Running with the Devil. That whole album's good. That whole album, the entire album is really good. So it's funny how, that was what, mid 70s. So 45 years ago. And yet that was like I still count that as my number one album when I was like 12 years old when I got it.
I'm with Casey. I didn't know who he was at first. I had to think about it.
I've got to educate. Casey didn't know who Eddie Van Halen was. Sam didn't know who Eddie Van Halen was. And he goes, "Oh, the guitar guy."
kids these days, Ken, I don't even think they know what a guitar is.
Oh man, telling you.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Ken. Was that 8-track, or were you doing the cassette at that point?
I was 8-track in the 70s, but I think I might even have it on vinyl.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
You can borrow. I think I've got a couple 45s if you want to borrow them too.
I actually, in this office that I've created for myself, I actually have something to play it on too, which is really weird.
Which is more than I've got.
You start digging out stuff in your basement, Kent, you start finding like really, really old stuff.
I hear you.
You don't own a turntable? How's that possible?
I gave mine away after college, I think, or somewhere in that range. Once everything moved to CDs, my gosh, I mean, how much better could it get? After it moved to cassette, after it moved to 8-track, after
Vinyl better.
then it all moved digital. I'm just saying
I'm back in the last 10 years or so.
I know it.
I probably got about 30 records now.
Everything I own is still vintage.
we'll start going.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Brandon? Hey, thanks for doing this, man. I'm just wondering, last year you got here and what were you practicing with the team for a month before you started a game?
Yeah.
What was that like for you? What was the challenge of that?
Just learning a new system and trying to get comfortable with it. I mean, that was the biggest thing. But as far as playing football, you only have a month to prepare. So, like, every team rep that you take, it's really important to get those live reps. So, as long as you're getting those in, I think that's a good way to prepare yourself.
So now that you're in a second year with these guys, with Rod in this system, how impactful is that, or how does that kind of play out day to day?
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. Having a year under your belt, you feel more comfortable. We've added some new stuff. We've taken some stuff out. So, I mean, there's always some moving parts and changing parts, but for the most part, it's the same. And having those guys back, having that comfortability level, knowing they know what they're doing, and being on the same page is also, a huge plus.
And the last one, how different is your conversations with Rod? He said you speak up a little bit more. What's that? How did that come about?
Yeah, I think it's important to always have, constant communication between the OC, telling him what you're seeing, what he's thinking, what you're thinking, what you're comfortable with, what he's comfortable with. Always having that constant communication is good. So, I mean, I don't think it's really changed much, from when I first got here. I was always open to him about, what I didn't like, and, what I thought about stuff. And he's always been open to what I've had to say as well.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, thanks for doing this again. So I saw that you worked out with Kurt Warner over the off season. So I'm just wondering how that came about and what did you guys do together?
Yeah, so I work with a QB guy out of Detroit, and he has a connection with Kurt. They've been to a few things together. So, it was a cool opportunity for him to link us both up. I actually went down to Arizona for a weekend and worked with him. And he was just giving me tips, pointers, things to work on for, footwork, accuracy, the mental part of the game. So I did about, I think, 4 or 5 sessions with him in the film room and on the field.
And that was so you went to Arizona. So was that like a week-long span that you were there? Because you had a few sessions?
I was only there for a weekend. Yeah.
Okay. And what were maybe some of your biggest takeaways from just that experience with him?
Biggest takeaways. And there's a lot of takeaways, but I mean, whenever you have a time to sit in front of a guy that's done it at the highest level, he's a Hall of Famer, he's won a Super Bowl. Really, there was not a big takeaway. I was taking in everything he had to say. He had a lot of great knowledge for me. Being a guy that's again done it, led a team to a Super Bowl. What is expected out of you at the QB position?
Is there anything specifically that you remember that you kind of follow or that you plan on bringing towards your game this season?
Yeah, the biggest thing with Kurt is he's all about footwork and having your back foot planted when you throw. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me that I've had to kind of work on as I've progressed is getting my back foot planted, and being more accurate with the ball. And I think just hearing what he had to say about the techniques of that, that it's going to be good to translate that in my game.
Great. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem.
Morning, Brandon. Thanks for doing this. Guess a pretty basic question for you, but what would you consider taking the next step as an individual to be this season?
The next step? What do you mean?
Just kind of like progression and meeting some of your goals that you have set for yourself this season.
Oh. I got a lot of goals, but I think the biggest one and I think the biggest one Coach Rod wants me to work on is, just working on the completion percentage. It was kind of low last year. I think if I get that up a little bit, it'll be easier for us to move the chains a little bit.
That kind of leads me to my second question. You talked about it a little bit. Jeremy asked you, but as that relationship has grown with Rod, how much more comfortable have you gotten in the off? And how much more do you think that can help you this season?
Sorry, you kind of cut out a little bit.
Oh, sorry, my bad. As the relationship that you have with Rod has grown, how much do you think that can just really help you this season, considering how weird this last couple months has been?
Yeah, definitely. That's huge. Over the summer, we've had a lot of opportunities to get together as an offense and as players with coaches. But, definitely it's definitely a weird time, only 8 game season, all that stuff. But again, I mean, me and Coach Rod, I feel like we've always been on the same page, always had that constant communication, and that's what you need to be successful.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, great to see you again. Been a long time. You got some new receivers, and you got Luke Ford eligible. You got Daniel Imatorbhebhe now. What's it been like working with some of these new guys and establishing those connections with them?
Yeah, I mean, for those guys, again, they're coming in a new offense. They got to learn some new stuff. So, we're still working out some kinks and bumps a little bit. But, Daniel, he's a great athlete. He's a big body, catches the ball well. Same with Hightower. He's a big body. He's physical. He's strong. But for those guys, it's just getting more comfortable with their reads and what they need to do in the offense so they could play at a faster pace.
Gotcha. You and Josh Imatorbhebhe seem to really hit it off. What do these big target guys who, also bring a lot of athleticism, how does that help you as a QB, just finding those guys on the field?
Yeah. It makes it easier to, throw the ball at a higher plane. When you got a big body, you can kind of use their size as leverage. And you saw that a couple of times last year with Josh. I was just giving him a chance to go make a play on the ball. That's what he did. So, I mean, those big body guys we can use to our advantage, in quick game and down in the red zone.
Thanks.
Hey, Brandon, good to see you again. Last year in the bowl game, your diving attempt for a first down, it's sort of grown a little bit in the Illini fandom. It's got a small legend status to it, I guess. It's become a rallying point. Do you feel the same way? Is that something that stuck with you months later, that moment?
No. I mean, I'm a competitor. I'm going to do what I got to do to win. So, I mean, for me, I was just trying to make a play. It wasn't trying to be anything heroic or anything like that. But, I mean, it's kind of cool that people think of it like that. But in my mind, no, I'm not thinking of it like that.
Was it something out of the ordinary for a quarterback in your mind? Or something extraordinary for you to do?
Again, I was just playing in the moment. Given the certain circumstances and situation, we were down 2 possessions, 4th down, so got to get the first down somehow. So I just tried.
With the season last year, with its great ups and the downs as well, has there been something that's come out of that and been fuel for you in the off season and going into this year? Is there something that's sort of stuck with you, or is there something else that's sort of motivating you into this year?
I think the biggest thing for us as a team is starting the game faster. Because if you look last year, we've started a lot of games slow and kind of dug ourselves in a hole, which a couple of times we were able to come back from that. Michigan State game, of course. But, you can't do that consistently and expect to win games. So I think the biggest thing as a group, myself personally, is, getting the offense off to a bigger, better start so we don't dig ourselves in that hole.
Thanks, Brandon. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Brandon, thanks for doing this. Good to see you again.
Yep.
You're a year now, obviously, in Champaign. off the field thing, a comfort level to get into a routine just in your everyday life, knowing where things are at? Are you in that flow? How does that help you?
Sorry, can you ask that again?
Yeah, so I mean, just having that comfort level in Champaign, you know where things are at. You've been there for a year. I mean, do you feel more settled in, and how does that help you?
Yeah. So last year I was living by myself, so I got really bored sometimes. So it's cool now. I live with Doug and McCourt and Boback. So just having those guys around is just chill. Sometimes having that comfort level of having your teammates around. Yeah, I mean, I feel even more part of the team. Not that I never didn't feel a part of the team, but I feel a closer bond with everybody on the team, having this year under my belt and all that. So, I mean, yeah, it's all good, comfortable, feeling good.
And Illinois is a program that had recent success from transfers, whether it be sit out or graduate. What was it that appealed to you, and why do you think that this coaching staff has had that level of success and kind of selling themselves as a place to accept these transfers?
I don't know. That might be a question for Coach Rod and them. But I don't know.
What do you like about the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Lovey, he offered me a great opportunity. When I came on my visit, he said, Brandon, you could be the face of this team. It's a Big Ten team. That's basically what he sold to me. He's like, why would you want to go to a lower level MAC school and, not be in the Big Ten was his big selling point to me. And, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So.
Then I got to ask you, growing the hair out, is this a casualty of quarantine? What's going on?
I haven't cut it since January. So, quarantine, I guess, has kind of had an effect. But, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, honestly. Just right now, I'm not even worried about it. So.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon, over the summer, repeatedly, Coach Lou Hernandez had cited you as a top performer during the summer workouts. And I had heard in your camp that you had worked with a personal trainer over the summer. I just what were your goals for your body over the summer to, get yourself a little bit fitter and did you have specific, hey, I want to make sure my body is this. I want to get down to a certain number, whether it's body fat percentage or whatnot. Did you have specific goals in mind, or was it just something you did and then it just worked out?
Yeah, I definitely did. Last year, I actually played at I think my lowest body weight last year was 212, 211. So I was pretty skinny. Which that's not great when you're playing in the Big Ten. You're taking those hits. So, when this all happened, I thought it was a great opportunity for me to seek out some guidance on, getting my body ready for the season. And I worked out with a guy in Detroit, Nate Collins. He's he trains some NFL guys, some Detroit Lions players. So having that opportunity, it was good. I worked on mobility, strength, and speed. So we really hit it all. But my big goal, we're hoping to start in September, was to be at 230 to start the season, which I was around 227, 228. Now I'm 220. So, I think if I'm in the range of 220, 225, that's not a bad weight to be.
What did that entail? Are you I don't mean to joke, but are you doing the Bryson DeChambeau thing of 3 protein shakes a day, or what did that entail to try to get your body fat or body mass up without exactly having, your fat percentage go down and whatnot, and all these types of things that you can do from a muscle standpoint?
Yeah, for me, it was just, you just got to eat, and then you got to eat the right stuff. So I was actually cooking a lot of my own food. And I thought that was the easier way to do it, rather than, trying to, get stuff from carry out or take out, stuff like that. So, I mean, it was nothing crazy that I was cooking. It was like chicken and rice and, like a salad, nothing crazy.
And lastly, I know this might be a stupid question, but did you learn anything that you kind of took for granted about nutrition during that summer and that it can translate throughout your, as you go on as an athlete?
Yeah, I mean, so since my days in Michigan, they've always been, super informative on nutrition and what to put in your body because it plays a huge factor into the season as it goes on. The season can be long, so putting the right stuff in your body is going to keep your body fit and feeling healthy. So I wouldn't say that I learned anything new from this experience. I just had to try some new things out that I had never tried before. But, all in all, since I've gotten to college, I feel like any program you go to is going to be good at like informing you about nutrition and stuff.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, I'm just wondering, kind of looking back at last season, you guys were kind of an underdog in a lot of those matchups, were able to kind of surprise some people. I think mainly outside of that locker room, I think you guys had a lot of belief that some other people maybe didn't.
Yeah.
Do you guys still kind of have that underdog mentality, or are you kind of taking last year's success as you're a team that should be kind of talked about a little more in the Big Ten this year?
Yeah, I feel like if you think about anybody outside of the program, they're going to think of Illinois as an underdog. But seeing what we have coming back this year, how comfortable we feel, with everything, even with the COVID stuff going on, we got some older guys on the team. We've got guys that have played a lot. So, from our players' perspective, coaches' perspective, we don't feel that we're underdogs at all. And you never want to, approach a game feeling like, oh, I'm underdog and probably going to lose this game. But, rather use that to motivate yourself to go out there and, defeat a team that thinks that they're better than you.
You mentioned some of those returners. You got a really strong group at offensive line in front of you. Does that kind of maybe put your mind at ease knowing that that's probably something that you're not going to have to think about too much and give you just a little more time to, get a new rapport going with some of these new weapons that you've got as well?
Yeah, our O-line, again, a lot of them have been 3-year starters, I think. KG will be a 3-year starter. Darian, Doug, Paucho. We're going to, right guard, we're seeing who's going to fit that position right now. But, with those guys and that senior leadership there, I think, we could, the sky's the limit in the run game and the pass game. Like I said earlier, the new guys, we just got to, keep getting them reps so they can get comfortable with the offense and Coach Rod's scheme.
Thanks, Brandon.
Yep.
Hey, Brandon. Long time no see. Like the hair.
Appreciate it.
What are the things that you used to be able to do that you can't do now because of the pandemic? Are there things you really miss that you're not able to do, or you have to kind of, do them differently?
Yeah. I honestly can't think of much, to be honest with you. Most of the time we're in football. Like, you go to football, you do your workout, you go home and chill. A lot of it, me, McCourt, and Doug, we did a lot of golfing. So, that didn't really – COVID didn't really affect that because, the golf course was open and stuff. So, from my perspective, it hasn't changed a lot because I'm not a person that, like, outside of football, that gets out and, like, does a lot.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Are you able to spend as much time with your family as you would like, or is that not possible?
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with my family, actually. Being an hour and a half, hour 45 from home. This summer, I was, able to go home a lot on the weekends, which was nice. And having that constant testing that we did, ensure that, I didn't have COVID because I live with my grandma and she's in her 80s, so she's definitely high risk. So,
course.
Anytime I went home, I had to be sure that it was safe for her.
Last thing, this year is kind of a bonus year for all the players. I don't think it's going to count in terms of eligibility. Have you thought at all about 2021, or is that down the road?
Sorry, I said again.
This year is not really counting in terms of eligibility.
Mhm.
You could come back conceivably in 2021. Have you thought about that at all?
I'm focused on this year. I mean, when the decision comes, it'll come. But as of right now, I'm just focused on the end goal this year.
Thanks, Brandon. Great talking to you again.
Yeah, thanks. Good.
Thanks. Good seeing you.
Thanks, Brandon.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Yep, I'll see you.
Thanks, Brandon.
Brandon.